Guess who's back? Jed is back. Back again. Tell a friend. You know what it is, folks. First of all, thank you for taking the time out of your day to tap in with me. And today, this is going to be a certified banger. The rumor that just won't die. This is my first time touching on it. We have other channels that they feel the need to make 15 videos about it. I'll keep it to one, and we're going to stick to the facts. The cold hard truth about what Kyrie Irving would bring to the Rockets and or take. Anytime you trade for a player of his caliber, you're going to give up something. And we'll get into that right now. Real quick, I just want to thank all the super early subscribers. Right now we're sitting at about 158. I started posting about 19-20 days ago as of this recording. So thank you guys. I mean, that doesn't sound like a lot, but I am truly honored. I appreciate you guys rocking with me. That does seem a little low, though. Like, I've interacted with you guys in other videos. I could have swore there was more than 158 hardcore Rockets fans. But I guess I was wrong. And if you are a hardcore Rockets fan, what are you waiting for? Smash the subscribe button. And if you like the video, like it. Or comment. Give me any ideas. It really helps the algorithm. And eventually, our goal is to be posting daily. We'll get into that. These slides, they take some time. I'm not going to feed you guys slop. We're going to try to be real on this channel. That is just me. But let's get into it. Let's stick with the tradition. If you are pressed for time, I'll quickly pop it up on the screen. What does this trade look like? What is it going to cost us? Well, we'll get into the Mavericks president because he's not just going to give him away. This is not going to be a Ja Morant giveaway. And as anybody who rocks with me, you guys remember, I was the one telling everybody, we saw all these ridiculous mock trades like, oh, let's give up this pick and this pick for Ja Morant. And I said, no, no, no. They are going to give him away and give draft picks. They didn't end up giving draft picks because they took an equally back atrocious contract and one Jeremy Grant. Okay? But based on who we're dealing with, Masai Ujiri, he has a track record of being pretty stingy, and we'll touch on that in a second. Okay, this trade would be Kyrie Irving to the Rockets for Fred VanVleet, Clint Capella, and it would probably cost us the 2028 first-round pick. Under no circumstances do we give away the Phoenix and Brooklyn pick next year. All right? And then the Mavericks would probably want control of their 2029 swap that Raphael Stone acquired from the Brooklyn Phoenix swap, if you guys don't remember. Which, by the way, I've been very consistent saying that we won that trade. It was essentially a 2-for-4. And so far, I mean, we just saw Summer League. I don't know, man. The Nets with the 2 picks that we quote-unquote gave back. Yegor Damon, 8th overall pick last year, and Mikael Brown this year, 6th overall. We just saw Bruce Thornton, the first pick in the second round, who, watch those deep dives. I'm bringing receipts. He outplayed all of them. I say all of them because the Nets had, 7 first-round picks? And people can be like, oh, he's not fast, he's not this, and he's not that, and oh, yeah, he's just like Jalen Brunson. Like, literally. Okay, we need to get past this as basketball fans. But enough about that. Let's get back to the trade. Please let me know, folks, if you guys think this is a good idea or a bad idea. Because right now, I'm going to provide you some good data for Kyrie. I know Kyrie's got a lot of fans. He's very opinionated. He's a smart dude, despite what you may think of his beliefs. Listen, everybody's entitled to what they believe, okay? I do believe that. So I'm not going to crap on him for any of that. All right. However, this video is going to provide that I do think this is a bad idea, and we're going to get into that a lot. Okay, let's start here. I don't got to go deep diving like I did with Bruce Thornton because to the uninitiated, you might not know who he is. I don't blame you guys. Not everybody is a nerd like that and deep dives. Okay, that's what I'm here to provide. But Kyrie Irving, it goes without saying, he's an amazing player when he's on the floor. For his career, but nearly 800 games, he's a what is he averaging? 24 points per game. He's flirted with a bunch of those seasons. The exclusive club, the 50% shooting, 40% from three, 90% from the line. Very exclusive. We got Kevin Durant has been in there, Steph Curry. There's not many players, especially guards, man. Like he can ball. Let's not get it twisted. Okay. We're talking about a 97th percentile scorer, right? 96th in isolation, where think about this. In Ime Udoka's lack of creative offense. Like Ime, I know the Rockets fans, we all crap on him, but Ime does bring you a baseline level of defense, right? He knows defense. Offensively, not very creative at all, to say the least. Which is again why I love the Bruce Thornton pick so much, because you got a guy who's just efficient, can handle the rock, handle traps, get downhill, score at all three levels, and can shoot. And with Kyrie, I mean, this guy was the first overall pick for a reason. I mean, he looked like he was born with the basketball. You guys know what it is. But like I said, 97th percentile as a scorer, 96th in isolation, 98th in clutch as far as his last season healthy, right? And we're going to get to that because that is a big what if he's healthy. But let's start on the trade details. Like, who are we dealing with here? I know everybody wants to get the better of, and I've seen some ridiculous trades where it's the Rockets giving up a lot. I've seen some where it's the Rockets are giving up nothing. Again, back to the John Morant thing. I told you if the Rockets wanted him, we would not be giving up nothing to get him. They chose not to, and I get it. He's kind of on the downside of his career already because his game is based off athleticism. Kyrie is a very skilled player. All right, but we're not dealing with just some schmuck. Okay, we're dealing with Masai Ujiri. Okay, he's been known to be kind of stingy in trades. Okay, for reference, this guy once got draft picks for Andrea Bergiani. You guys remember him? Was he the former first overall pick? I believe he was. He got assets for him when his value was low. Like Raphael Stone, like everybody craps on Raphael Stone. He was dealt a bad hand as soon as he became GM. Your best player, franchise player, James Harden, requests a trade, and Westbrook too. And it's like, what do you do? And I really respect Raphael Stone from this lens that he went all in. He didn't say, okay, he could have had Jared Allen, he could have had Karis LeVert, and we could have been a middling team. He said, no, I believe in going all in. You're either going all in for a chip or you're going all in for a rebound or rebuild, excuse me. Right? That's how it should be. So, anyways, Masai, he was dealt a similar hand when he was with Denver and Carmelo Anthony. I don't know how old the audience is. Maybe you history buffs know this. I'm old enough to remember. Carmelo Anthony demanded a trade. And guess what? I mean, he got assets back from New York. He got picks. He got Wilson Chandler, Danilo Gallinari. Who else was in there? Was it Raymond Felton? Maybe. It was a great haul, and it was really stupid on the Knicks end because they were like, dude, they were gonna sign. Carmelo was gonna go there the next year. They had the cap space to open it up, and obviously they got Amari Stoudemire there. And I want to say this was when the big three happened with LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and all that. This was around that era when there were like these teams, these players, they stopped being competitive. They wanted to have this little buddy system where they go and join each other. And anybody who knows basketball could have seen how horrible of a fit that would have been. Amari and Carmelo together. And speaking of which, in Mike D'Antoni's system, like, I mean, anybody with a brain can tell, dude, that's not gonna work. Carmelo is a ball stopper and an inefficient one. And by ball stopper, I mean he's an isolation player. He can do his thing. He was a good player, but is that winning basketball? I would argue no, and we saw it in this analytic driven era. He would have been phased out. Okay, so just real quick with Masai, we know who we're dealing with. I mean, he did trade for Kawhi back in the day, and it delivered them a championship. So kudos to them. But with the Kyle Lowry situation, there was many rumors about him getting traded. Like they're gonna trade him. They're gonna trade him. He stuck to his guns, and he's one of those GMs that he would rather lose somebody or make them. We've seen free agency nowadays. Nobody really gets to free agency under the current collective bargaining agreement, and he was a little bit ahead of the curve. He didn't lose Kyle Lowry for nothing. He signed and traded him. He did, however, he kind of botched the OG Anunoby trade and Van Fleet, who was a one-time All-Star. I mean, we us Rockets fans, we could watch Fred Van Fleet and we go, no, he's not an All-Star, but he did make one, and that's why, hey, I actually think if he comes off the bench, he could really be an impact bench player, assuming he's healthy. Last time he was a bench player, his team won the title, right? But yeah, he let Fred walk for nothing. And we've seen with Fred, sometimes he kind of wears out his welcome. If any Raptors fans are watching, I'm sure they will vouch for this. They have talked about how he can be toxic, and everybody praises his leadership, and yes, he does have that, but eventually he wears out his welcome, kind of like he's doing now, like how he's complaining about, oh, I opted into my deal, I blew out my knee. You know how it is, guys. It's like he wants more money. To me, it kind of sounds like he wants an extension, but kudos to Rafael Stone. He's not going to give it to him. Okay, now let's focus on the trade rumor. The trade rumor that won't die. And guess what, guys? Every time I heard this, I thought this has to be parody, right? You guys are over here beating a dead horse. Like I said, other channels making 20 videos about it. All signs point to this. This is what's going on. The Rockets must get serious. I mean, no, if you're a serious organization, you won't trade for Kyrie. And I'll get to that. I'll tell you why you shouldn't. But get the ping pong or badminton paddle out and let's just start beating a dead horse. Because we've heard this so many times. And this is my first time touching on it again. You guys saw my last couple videos. I've given you guys summer league coverage, right? Other people are doing it. I'm giving you guys deep dives. Again, if you're a Rockets fan, smash that subscribe button. It would mean the world to me. Thank you for that. Listen, if we were dealing with like a buffoon like Nico Collins, it would just be like, okay, let's get Kyrie on the cheap. It's whatever. But, again, we're dealing with a guy he's a hardcore negotiator, right? Not everybody is like Nico Collins, and poor Nico Collins made. And he did the stupidest trade, and him and old boy Rob Palinka, they worked together back in the day, and there's some connections and some conspiracies about them doing themselves a solid, but we know how it is, man. Like, could you imagine Nico Harrison? I'm calling him Nico Collins, thinking of football. All right, eventually we'll start covering football, which I am a Jets fan, just FYI. Um, But Nico Harrison, right? Can you imagine there? He's sitting there eating dinner, minding his own business, and I'm sure he was getting trolled this entire time. And poor Nico, man. Like I say, poor. Like, was he in on it? Maybe, maybe not. But he is the type. You guys know. You guys see it. Defense wins championship. His robotic answer. Oh, him and Udoka, they would get along so well. But he is the type to threaten a prank caller, right? If somebody prank calls his house, man, he's going to give him that Liam Neeson business. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. And don't deny it, you know he would do it. Unfortunately, that's not who we're dealing with. We're dealing with Masai Ujiri, who is a bit of a gangster when it comes to these negotiations. Again, he's not going to give Kyrie Irving. Listen, if the trade was just for nothing, if it was a salary dump, I would be right here. Like, yes, Kyrie, Great player, questionable character, but great player. And we'll get into the Kevin Durant thing of how that was an epic failure in Brooklyn, and people want to reunite these guys um, years later when they're old too. I mean, that is wild to me. People's revisionist history. It is. But we can focus on Kyrie. Like some say, oh, he's kind of injury prone. No, he's been injury prone. Right? You guys remember him coming out of Duke, right? He played 11 games in college. He was already hurt then, has always continued to be hurt. Okay. In his 15-year career, if you look at Basketball Reference, it's going to credit it to 14 years because they don't count the seasons you missed, right? Like Ben Simmons missed his rookie seasons, or so did Blake Griffin and Joel Embiid, and you guys know how it is. You miss a season, they don't credit you for it. But for this exercise, we'll stick to how long he's been in the league. He's been in the league for 15 years. Now, if we round up, he has played 52 games a year. Okay, meaning he wouldn't even be award eligible in today's era, right? The 65 game limit. Now, if we even just say, okay, what have you done for me lately, right? Because again, everybody thinks about Kyrie, great player, and I'm with you guys. He is a great player. He is magical with the ball in his hands, right? Let's not get it twisted. This dude can ball, right? But in the last 7 years, right? Let's focus on this current decade, past 220, and I'll get to the Nets thing in a second, right? He's played 38, let's round it up to 39. 39 games per year in these past 7 years, right? Out of, 574 games. How many has he played and missed, right? He's played, I believe 271 and missed, off the top of my head, 300-ish, right? He's missed more games than he's played, right? Again, you can be a great player all you want, but if you're not available, then I don't know what to tell you. And obviously, we saw with the Rockets this past year. What was our main problem, guys? Unavailability. Fred, injured, out for the whole year. Adams, gone halfway through the season. Capella, useless. Dorian Finney-Smith, useless. Kevin Durant hit his knee supposedly in practice. I don't know. Maybe he didn't want to lose to his boy LeBron. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. We'll touch on those rumors, those Detroit rumors, a little bit later, right? But you had $113 million ish. Just, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to brainstorm here. They had about $113 million on the bench. Okay. And your guys' plan, not you guys that are watching, but just maybe, I mean, everybody is so quick to say Kyrie is the solution. I mean, is he? Is he really? Is he really, bro? I mean, come on, dude. Is this guy ever available? And you know what? We can touch on the Brooklyn thing right now, right? When him and Durant went there, obviously Durant was coming off of a torn Achilles in the finals, but when him and Kyrie they clicked up, and eventually they got James Harden too. I mean, people were like, oh, if they did this, if they were healthy, if my aunt had stones, she would be my uncle. To quote Charles Barkley, right? Let's get to the facts, dudes. They played in all those years together, in all them years, they played 74 games together, 61 in the regular season, 13 in the playoffs. Okay? Good for less than 25% of games. And when you splash in little game James Harden, 16 games that they all played together, including the playoffs, which they were 13-3. And again, I do think they would have beaten Milwaukee back then, but guess what? They didn't. Durant did his best. He was awesome in that series. But again, these guys were unavailable. Unavailable when you need them the most. And think about it this way, right? You guys, let's reunite them, right? Kevin Durant's going to be 38 soon. Kyrie's going to be, no, he is 34, right? It was his birthday in March. So back then, when they were together, I mean, they were way younger. What were they, like 27 and 30 years old, right? And you guys, not you guys, sorry, but the people that think this is such an awesome idea, right? It works on NBA 2K, okay? But let's get a little fucking real here. This isn't NBA 2K. And real quick, also, if the Rockets were to do this, guess what? Now the pressure would be on the front office to actually win. And unlike other fans, I actually don't think Raphael Stone is on the hot seat. Maybe Udoka could be. We'll see. Listen, if they both make it out of the playoffs this coming year, they're golden. They're good. But we'll touch on that in a bit. Obviously, you don't want to surround your youngsters with this possibly toxic environment. I mean, for the Rockets, I know us Rockets fans, we've been asking for a while. You got to pick a lane, right? You traded the 10th overall pick last year from Phoenix. They gave him their own pick back, and Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green, and you got Kevin Durant, which in retrospect, it's still a good trade. But you guys know how Kevin Durant likes to kill his own value, right? But let's pick a lane. Do you guys want to win? Do you guys want to be championship contenders? And again, though, the whole let's run it back, obviously that goes out the window if you trade for Kyrie. Then you didn't really believe all that shit you were saying. Like, oh, if we were just healthy, we would have won and went far. And we have a niche style, right? The offensive rebounding is awesome. And theoretically, that would be good with two, three-level scorers like that, like Kyrie and Kevin Durant. Like, I think it could work, but I don't trust him to be healthy. And here, real quick, we can even bring up the character stuff, right? Like, real quick, wouldn't it be funny? Wouldn't it be freaking hilarious if Kyrie, we see he's very opinionated. You know, you guys saw the Boston Celtics, they traded Jaylen Brown. They weren't all with him being opinionated, and they didn't like the smartest guy in the room type of stuff. And I'm not saying he's wrong, but, you know, he wore out his welcome. They thought it was time to move on. You know, Kyrie has a bit of that. He is actually pretty intelligent, contrary to what people think. But, you know, he's got those nicknames. He's Uncle Drew, the ankle taker, World B Flat. Like, wouldn't that be ironic if you guys see the Rockets logo? It's inspired off of the Saturn V rockets, right? Kyrie and his belief system, right? He believes in that ice wall, you know, and I'm not even gonna sit here and talk shit. If you believe that, it's just whatever. That is your belief system. I'm not gonna shit on you guys for it. But it would just be really funny and ironic that he would be playing for the Houston Rockets. Houston, we have a problem. Needless to say, he is high maintenance. You know, when you want to get a job, you want to be high character, low maintenance, right? And Kyrie is high character, high maintenance, I guess. And so is Kevin Durant. Okay, let's even just touch on that real quick. Like, you guys want to add him to that. And again, sorry, I'm saying you guys. I'm not talking about you guys. And even then, let me know in the comment section if I'm wrong, right? If just from a pure basketball standpoint, does Kyrie raise this team ceiling? Of course he does. And is it worth the risk? I mean, for us, it would be, right. It's not our jobs on the line, but for Raphael Stone and Ime Udoka, I mean, shit, maybe not. I mean, listen, the guy that they drafted, Bruce Thornton, and people were like, "Oh, we should have gotten this guy," and the mock drafts told me this. Listen, his style might be boring, it's effective, and he's good. Ime loves that shit. This guy has no creativity on offense. You know how Ime is. He's not the type to wave at his neighbor. You know how Ime on his wedding night, he's having missionary with the lights off. No sounds. That is him. He wants it boring. Ice cold and boring. Okay? I'm pretty sure that when he traded for Durant, he thought, okay, Durant is past that, right? Like, for the people that were like, oh, it's burner gates. You know, sometimes I see that on other Rockets videos. Was that him? Was that him? Does a bear shit in the woods? Okay, let's take a look at his history. Back in 2017, do you guys remember that? When he was over there talking shit about his teammates and the Thunder, and he was just like, oh, it was just him and Westbrook, bro. And he forgot to sign into he forgot to sign out of his own account, right? He has many burner accounts, and he's also said this publicly, right? He said it on many podcasts. I do burners. I come catch me on the burner. You guys know what it is if you guys see it. Just don't be blind. Or like Kyrie would say, don't be a sheep. Bah, don't be a sheep. And he admitted to it, right? He was talking crap about his teammates back in 2017, and he got caught for it, and he admitted to it. And then this time, let's just start. What was he saying? That your best player can't shoot and defend, can't shoot or defend. That's a way bigger problem. I don't give a hoot about my turnover problems. Again, 37 years old, still not taking accountability, friends. He's over there saying his turnovers are not a thing. We saw it in the one playoff game that he played. Again, you guys heard me talk about it in many videos. Had he just let those shots go, he really cares about his efficiency. If you would have just let those shots go, man, you're opening up your teammates for offensive rebounds. Okay, but you care about your numbers so much that you would rather turn it over because the casual fan's not going to see that in the box score. They're going to say, oh, he went 9 of 16 and he went 3 of 5 from 3 or whatever, and he was efficient, Mr. Efficiency himself. Yeah, whatever, bro. But you're saying all that about Şengün. You're calling Jabari, what did you call him? Developmentally disabled or something like that. And, for the people that say, oh, we don't know if that was him, okay, keep being blind to that. So my theory is this, and there's a website, it's called like the Kevin Durant Files. My theory is this, that he said something about like the drone attacks, and he has a drone company. I forget its name. Like, what is the name? Stydio or something like that, right? He has a drone company, and I believe that somebody got offended from him making jokes about it, because it is there on the live chat. People gloss over that fact that he said that. If you look in the whole chat, you'll see that he did say something very insensitive to that, and I think that somebody that was in there leaked his what was it, his group chat, right? Almost a 40-year-old man doing group chats. That's whatever, that's on him. But for the people that say it wasn't real quick, if it wasn't real, why did he fire half of his media team like a couple days later? Let's stew on that for a second. Was it not real? And that's whatever. You know what Kevin Durant brings to the court, just like Kyrie Irving. But we've seen the massive, epic failure that they were together. And now the plan, and also how injured we were in the playoffs. With, hey, guess what? It was all the old players. And we want to bring more of them? It's like, yes, sir. Can I have another? Wham. Can I have another? Is that what you guys like? You guys want someone to fish hook your mouth? Like, I don't understand this. I really don't. And for Kevin Durant, we know how passive aggressive he could be, right? Like, he's got people were saying that, oh yeah, he's wearing a Detroit Tigers hat. Apparently, it's like his own clothing line and all that, and it just happens to be a D and all this. Listen, Kevin Durant's not stupid, right? He might play dumb when he goes, oh, I'm not here to get into Twitter nonsense. Listen, if it wasn't you, you would have been like, dude, that wasn't me. You didn't even fucking deny it. You were just like, oh, I'm not here to get into Twitter nonsense. Whatever. But he knows what he's doing. He puts out these weird subliminal messages. He's very passive aggressive. I think even if you're a Kevin Durant fan, I'm pretty sure you can agree on this, right? Durant, the Durantula, he's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. And when he does that, he's trying to send a message. But for him, I do find it kind of sad, though, that okay, you guys want two Robins on the team, right? Sure. I've jokingly called Alperen Şengün. I've jokingly called him Alfred in the past on the Dream Shake. If you follow me on the Dream Shake, shout out to you guys if you're still watching and listening, for sure. Yeah. I've called him Alfred, right? As in Alfred Pennyworth, the butler from Batman, right? Or I've called him Third Banana, and some people get offended by it, and it's like, no, I fuck with Şengün. I do. It's just, There are times when he does dumb shit, and I say, okay, that is a third wheel. But for Kyrie and Durant, those are two bus riders. Like Charles Barkley said, those are two bus riders. Do you guys want them on the same team again? Do you guys really want? Because what happens then? You trade all your assets, and then what? For two guys that are unreliable as shit, right? And now you're fucked. Okay, then what? Are you guys going to sit there and have revisionist history and be like, oh, Raphael Stone needs to go? He was so dumb when, not saying you guys that are watching this, but there are a ton of people that think this is an amazing idea that we're just going to get Kyrie, we're going to be Kevin Durant, we're going to be playing 2K, we're going to be singing Kumbaya, and it's going to be awesome, bro. I am starting to rant, but you guys know how I roll. I'm not going to feed you guys the same regurgitated slop that we see. We see a lot of these other channels. Like, let's be real, I watch all of them. I see you guys all in the comment section, right? And again, you guys that have subscribed, and more importantly, liked and commented. No, I'll take that back. Subscribing is the most important part. But you guys that sit there and watch and rock with me, you guys mean the world to me. I really appreciate that shit from the bottom of my heart. I am not going to feed you guys slop, okay? I'm going to give you my unfiltered opinion. And I apologize. I will try to tone down the cursing. I didn't curse in my last video, but I'm a little bit passionate about this subject. So if I dropped an F bomb or something, I do apologize. I don't ever put on there that this is for kids. But again, I'm not cursing in a malicious way, right? Sorry if I use it as adjective, but that's whatever. What I need you guys to beat up the comment section. I need you guys to let me know. Great idea, dumb idea. Am I right for thinking that this is a crazy idea? Right? We've seen the people. This is, I mean, our off season has been. I mean, I can't even tell you guys how much content I've watched where it's Kyrie's coming to the Rockets. This is the move to make, right? Without factoring in his injury history. Again, just so we're clear, 38 games played over the last 7 years. And actually, you know what? I will touch on that real quick. He is more recovered than Fred is at this point, right? And uh, apparently people have watched him and they said, no, he looks good out there. Jets, he looks good out there, right? Maybe he's fitting to have a good season, and maybe so. But his track record tells me he's going to get hurt at some point. Fred got injured in what, September, and not even a year ago, 10 months ago. Kyrie got injured back in March of 2025, if I recall correctly. So he's what, 16-ish months around there. So maybe he's more ready to go, and we don't know how much of that is gamemanship from Fred, like, oh, I'm injured, but he wanted his 25 million, right? That's why he opted in, and he didn't want to give up a penny, as he shouldn't, guys. Always get your guys' worth, right? You guys are worth a lot. Get your worth in any job that you have. And kudos to Kevin Durant. Like, he did take less money. I probably put it on the screen already, but he was making what, 54 million last year, and he re-signed for less this past year. So kudos to him. But the passive aggressiveness stuff, it's like, I don't know. Just reading between the tea leaves, it sounds like you want to be in Detroit. And if you guys didn't check out that last video, the twin reunion, go ahead and watch that if you guys want to, of course. But I made the argument that, yeah, we're not going to take your guys' trash. And, I see a lot of the Pistons fans came out in full defense force, and they were like, oh, we're not giving up Asar, this and this and this. And I get it. I wouldn't either. But it's like the way they talk, like he's on the level of a Min Thompson. It's like, well, one guy didn't average 10 points a game. The other guy averaged 18, and he's much better. I even had one guy that tried to tell me, oh, you try to be slick. Asar grew up playing the point guard when he was 10 years old. And it's like, okay, bro, I didn't follow them when they were 10 years old. And I brought up the high school thing, and he's like, you're trying to be slick. And it's like, what are we talking about here, bro? Does anybody follow players that, like, I'm not some creep. I'm not going to be at a fucking basketball game, with binoculars, like, oh yeah, that 13-year-old kid, man, he's the next big thing. I was like, come on, brother, let's get real here, dude. But it's whatever. I thought the twin reunion would be crazy to see, because I do think these guys are destined to play together, and I do think that it's going to happen in Houston eventually. And just like that, you guys can be my other twin. Can you guys hit that subscribe button, hit the like? Can you guys comment and give me your guys' feedback? That's what I want to know. I really do. Together, forever. And I'm not doing this shit without you. There is no me without you. What's it going to be? Smash that like button. This is your dude, Jet707. I appreciate you guys tapping in with me. I will catch y'all on the next one. Peace.